All right, good morning, gentlemen. Week 4 wrap up show coming to you with a couple new little features here. I really had to wait until the end of the Monday night game to find out the last matchup between JD and Adam coming down to that Pittsburgh and Cincinnati game. So that's wrapped up now. So ready to do a little recapping. Okay, let's jump right into it right now. So first off, I got to give credit to Mark. He got the win over me, which I did predict. I think I went 3-2 again this week, which is going to move me to 13-7 on the year. So my percentage continues to go down a little bit, but it's gonna, I keep going 3-2. The last 3 weeks are 3-2, so eventually it'll stabilize there. But hopefully, I get some better weeks in here. So I did pick Mark to win. It didn't go down the reason that I thought it would. My running backs were a little beat up, but obviously we had a big trade right before this game, which is unusual to trade with someone the week you're playing them. But it didn't really impact the game too much. So Mark goes to 3-1. I dropped to 3-1. The game score was 149.4 to 137.47, so a spread of about 8 points. Not a huge, or maybe his was 149. Can't read my own handwriting, but somewhere between 8 and 12 points, depending on what I wrote down there. Okay, so players of the game in this game. I want to go with Wayne Gallman for me in the loss. I mean, Wayne Gallman came out and put up a 31-point game. Definitely beat what I was my biggest expectations for him. But since I didn't get the win, I guess I'll go with Chris Carson, who dropped 29 points. A good bounce back league win for performance for Chris Carson this week, breaking tackles like we've seen him do in the past. So he got 29 points for Seattle and definitely helped Mark to this victory. The dumb sit of the week is, for me, Chris Godwin, 41 points on the bench. He had one bad week, and I pulled him. Definitely an overreaction. So Chris Godwin scores 41 points. That would be over a possible replacement of Marquise Brown in the wide receiver position, who only got 6.2 points, and that's a difference of 35 points. So I left 35 points on the board right there. Definitely would have, if that was the only change that happened, would have won me this week by a good margin. But that's what, that's the point of the dumb sit of the week for this game. Let's see, the original game of the week was Daryl versus Sean. I picked Daryl, which is not something that's working out very well for me right now. When I pick against Daryl, when I pick against Daryl, he tends to win. When I pick Daryl, he tends to lose. So I know what Daryl would prefer me to do. We'll see. We'll see what happens there because I keep getting my Daryl picks wrong, it seems like. So Sean did win this game. Somewhat convincing, 160 to 147, a 13-point spread. Sean moves to 3-1. Daryl drops to 1-3. So kind of, a little bit behind his expectations, I know. Good win for Sean, who continues to, most weeks, put up a fair number of points. I don't think his team's the type that is going to be league leader in points, although that seems to be the realm of Steve right now. But he consistently puts up a good score. You got to score to beat Sean right now in most weeks other than last week. So that's why he's 3-1. Player of the game in this game is Nick Chubb, 44 points, 3 touchdowns, had a monstrous day against Baltimore, who's got to be a team that's got in a huge divisional matchup. I mean, that's one of the biggest wins for the Cleveland Browns in a very long time, to go into Baltimore, beat their rival, probably their biggest rival, and tie up the division record there in the AFC, whatever it is, AFC Middle East. I don't know. I can't even think of the name of that right now. But Nick Chubb, huge game. And then the defenses were big in this game. So KC put up 17 points. Not a good defense. and they put up 17 points in this game. Green something, -1 point. So that's a 18-point spread, which definitely makes up the spread of this game right here, just on defense alone. There was no dumps of the week. These two both pretty well maximized their points this week, which is not the best news for them since it was 160 to 147, but they both pretty much maximized their points this week. All right, next, the true game of the week came down to JD versus Adam. I picked JD. JD did win. The final spread was 177.28 to 172.87. Fun fact, that's the exact same combo of 5 numbers, just in a slightly different order, to Adam's chagrin, because he came up with a 5-point loss here. So Adam drops to 0-4, and JD moves to 1-3 on the year. This, I think, was the best point output for each team, which is a little bit of a waste for each one. Kids bother me constantly. They don't give me the one moment of peace in a day that I could ask for. They are at my door with homework, which is not due till Thursday. God bless them. I'm happy that they got it done. But for God's sakes, just hold on a second. I'm telling them to go away, and they don't understand what the go away symbol means. It is not my time with them. Go away. Go. I'll come find you. I will come find you. Go away. Get. So the game of the week, Adam and JD, 177 to 172. This, again, the best point output for each team, I believe, on the season. So that's rough for Adam in a loss. It's not going to help him feel better necessarily, but maybe good things going forward. Adam goes to 0-4. JD improves to 1-3. Player of the game was Todd Gurley with a bounce-back performance, about 29 points. The dumb sit of the week was Adam putting Jordan Howard on the bench. Go away. I'll come find you. Go away. Go away. I will come find you guys. Jordan Howard on the bench over Philip Dorsett in the flex. Jordan Howard scored 36 points. Philip Dorsett 4. That's a difference of 32 points. Okay. Bert and Steve. I'm going to try to go faster here because these kids are annoying. I know it's my job, but right now this is my prep time, so I'm prepping. Bert and Steve. Picked Bert. Steve won. So I picked Steve to get his first loss. He did not. He just continues to put up points. It was 205 to 146, not a close game. Player of the game was Austin Eckler, 33.7 points. That has to worry Steve a little bit with Melvin Gordon coming back. Whether that is going to affect his team going forward, it should, obviously. The dumb sit of the week is going to be, it's not a big deal, but Chicago's defense for Bert was on the bench, 20 points. Over the Chargers defense of 12. That's only an 8-point spread, so not very huge there, obviously. Lucas and Phil. Picked Lucas. Lucas won, 177 to 122. Again, a huge spread, not a close game. Lucas goes to 2-2. Phil drops to 1-3. Player of the game is definitely Christian McCaffrey, 40.65 points in this game. Huge performance by a guy who just usually puts up huge performances. The dumb start of the week is going to be Jimmy Graham on the bench for Phil over Greg Olsen. Jimmy had 18 points. Greg Olsen goes 2.5. That's a 15.5-point difference. So that being said, player of the week for our league would be Nick Chubb in the victory for Sean. 40 points, 44 points. I think that's the league topper this week. He deserves the player of the week honors. The dumb shit sit of the week. The dumb shit sit of the week goes to me. Chris Godwin's 41 points sitting on the bench. It's brutal. That's along with Jameis Winston on my bench, 35 points to Dak Prescott's 8 or 9. But the Chris Godwin over Marquise Brown 35-point spread is the dumb shit sit of the week. Trade analysis real quickly. Big trade happened between Mark and I. He sends me Marquise Brown, Marlon Mack, Lord have mercy. The Jets tight end that's injured. I have him in 2 leagues now. I should remember his name, but not injured, who's been suspended. He comes back soon, and he sends me a 2nd-round pick in our supplemental rookie draft coming up this year. I sent him Brandon Cooks, Zach Ertz, and Ronald Jones Jr. I think we both came away from this trade pretty happy. might not make sense to everyone else. So some background: Phil needs a tight end, Mark needs a tight end. He had T.J. Hawkinson dropping passes all over the field. So I have Darren Waller as my backup tight end, who has been outperforming Zach Ertz on certain weeks, or at least performing adequately with him. There's a similar level. So I was willing to give up Zach Ertz. Brandon Cooks is a former Oregon State Beaver. Mark Virgin is a former Oregon State Beaver dropout, so they have something in common there. And Mark always likes to collect Beavers and Seahawks on his team. In fact, he probably should put those two names together to make a really funny fantasy name instead of just Verge, the Beefhawks, or something ridiculous like that. And I didn't really want Ronald Jones anymore. I don't even know if Mark's going to use him. I got tired of having Peyton Barber and Ronald Jones and trying to make that decision. So I sent him along so I didn't have to drop somebody. I get back Marquise Brown, who I'm really interested in, really wanted to target that player. Didn't have a great week this week, but I like the future there. Marlon Mack, who had a terrible week also this week, but I like his ability to fill in for me while Saquon Barkley is out. I also got back that tight end, Chris Herndon, there it is, who, when he comes back from suspension, I'm excited about to see what he can do. And then I get the second round pick. It was pieces that each of us didn't overtly need for pieces that each of us really did need more. I needed someone for Saquon being out, even though Wayne Gallman looked amazing. I think Marlon Mack and him together, along with Josh Jacobs, forms a pretty solid running back room with Saquon on the bench. And for him, he needed a tight end and wide receiver help, and he gets a Beaver in the action. So, I think it was a good trade for both of us. I obviously like it from my side, especially with the long term of Marquise Brown. So that's the trade analysis. That's what we're at. That's kind of what led us both to it. So, obviously, I'm not undefeated anymore. That hurts. That stinks. But, at least I can say that I put out my lowest by far point total of the week, and Mark only beat me by like 10 points. So there's that side of it. Okay, week 5 coming up. Some good matchups from what I looked ahead and saw briefly. People dealing with some injuries now. We're getting down to weird depth because Phil has so many zeros on his team, so many 0-point performances because there's so many players out this week. So people are, even with 30 players on our roster, we're getting stretched thin here. All right. Okay. See y'all later. Bye.